Everyone, welcome back to BSG Annual 2022. In just a moment, we are going to get started with Metroid Dread by dtail. So, dtail, I'm going to give it over to you, and let's see Metroid Dread.
Right, so I'm dtail74. With me are Killer Chair and Diane Keto, and this is going to be Metroid Dread, any percent, no major glitches. So if I could get a countdown from someone.
All right.
3, 2, 1,
go.
So starting off, no major glitches for Metroid Dread is a two-part restriction. So firstly, we're not allowed to use any tricks, exploits, glitches, or otherwise that have been removed from the game via patch. So we're just running on the most recent version of the game because it's easy and we don't need to worry about it. And secondly, there's a specific list of stuff that we're also not allowed to do, including camera lock and invincibility glitch and some other things, which obviously won't be appearing. But there's still a bunch of other cool stuff that we can do that we will make great use of for a bunch of sequence breaks and room strats and other stuff to make it all go a little bit faster. First one of those is coming up in just a bit, but first we're heading through this little tutorial area and we have to talk to our robot friend Adam, which I'll be mashing through as fast as possible.
Our Emmy obsessed buddy.
Oh yeah, he's absolutely obsessed. In a few minutes, there's going to be a cutscene that plays where he just says the word Emmy 4 times in a row. The game is currently on German, as per donation incentive that was decided. So I've never seen this before. I'm really intrigued what the items are going to be called, but we'll get to that in a little bit. For now, I'm going to get started on the first glitch of the run. This is a pseudo wave. So I'm going to clip the arm cannon out of bounds to shoot through the wall. And we're going to immediately do it again. That was first try. Okay,
nice.
Diane.
That one's really hard.
That one is really hard. Wow. Diane, I have a notebook in front of me. Do you think you could reach over and grab it? Or maybe Killer could do it?
Yeah, that would probably be better.
Yeah, you're right. All right, first boss of the run. This is Corpius. Normally, you would be fighting him with the charge beam and the spider magnet already acquired, but since we skipped a bunch of stuff with those 2 pseudo waves, we don't have either of those. So we're fighting him with missiles only, and this is actually really the only reason why we're running the game on Rookie mode, which is the easier game mode. Rookie mode does a couple things, but really the only thing that we care about is that it starts us off with 30 missiles instead of just 15. And that's going to make the Corpius boss fight a lot easier because it's just a lot more lenient on our aim, because we have more ammo. So Corpius should be dying here pretty soon. There he is. Going to skip that cutscene. And that gives us apparently the Phantom Umhang. Now, I don't speak a lot of German, but this is the Phantom Cloak. It lets us turn invisible, which is great.
Also, a thing to note is that during that boss fight, you had that little counter moment. What you may have done casually is use your charge beam, and then you go into a whole cinematic thing with a lot of rockets. It's just a lot faster to not do that.
It is. We do like to parry him if we're out of ammo, though, just to get the refill, but luckily that doesn't happen often. Diane, if you could put a tick in the left column. Thank you. So for this run, one notable thing is that we're allowed to use a turbo controller. So a controller that you can kind of program in advance to give a certain amount of inputs. In this case, Dread allows turbo up to 12 hertz, so 12 inputs per second, which is mostly from health concerns because you can shoot as fast as you can click in this game. You can shoot a shot every frame, theoretically. And mashing as fast as possible just to kill bosses quicker is really unhealthy. So the community's decided to allow a reasonably low turbo at 12 hertz just to make it easier on people who run at the top level. So that's very nice. We make use of that when we're mashing for text, when we're shooting at bosses, and so on and so forth. Game's going to tell us there's a little secret in this room, but we're just going to ignore that.
Yeah, there's also supposed to be an Emmy crawling around here.
There is.
Due to the routing and some
because we did Corpius first, that Emmy is just not going to spawn, so we don't need to worry about it.
Oh, Emmy, where are you?
I mean, we'll bring her back in a second, but first we have to do this trick. Not first try. What a shame. That's sad. The Phantom Cloak that we got from Corpius makes this trick a lot easier, but it's still fairly tight. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get up high enough on the slope that I can jump back towards that missile pack. It's not giving me the easiest time. Ah, that was close.
We believe.
Yeah, I'll get it eventually. There we go. So what that does is, it's called Artaria Water Skip because it skips a water section in Artaria. It's very descriptive. This bit right here would normally be filled with water, and we'd have to like solve a little tiny puzzle of manipulating it, but we don't have to do any of that. We're gonna immediately do another skip, jumping up this wall in a bit of a wacky way. I can do it right. Ah, that was close. Not quite. No. Man. There we go. So doing that skips another little section here where we'd normally have to step on a pressure pad and dodge the Emmy, but again, that Emmy isn't there, and it's just a lot faster to jump up the wall like that. And that's going to finally allow us to grab the first major upgrade of the run, if we hadn't gotten the Phantom Cloak, which is the Charge Beam. Normally, this would be the first thing you get. Charge Beam allows you to charge up your beam. Works the same as it does in pretty much every other Metroid game. You can use it to open charge beam doors or damage bosses. And in this game, there's a funny glitch you can do where if you turn Samus around really fast or enter a spin jump, you can instantly charge up the charge beam without waiting out the timer. We're going to be doing that a lot. Other than that, there's currently not a whole lot going on in the run, but there's a million little movement techniques that I could talk about. So unless somebody would want to interject with a donation or otherwise, I'm going to do that.
I mean, I can quickly talk about why we're raising money in the first place.
That'll work.
We are currently raising money for Mind, which is a nationwide organization committed to prevent mental health issues and to support everyone who is dealing with mental health issues themselves or within their family. All of your donations go to Mind, and if you want to have a bit of more of an idea of why that's important, I just wanted to mention that in every region of the world, mental disorders surpass 10% of the population. Governments seem to lack momentum in reducing the burden of mental health problems, as only 55% have mental health awareness and only 8% have suicide prevention plans. Organizations like Mind help raise awareness to the issue, helping us get one step closer to a world where everyone gets the help they need.
Thank you, Cole. So like I said, there's a lot of little movement techniques that I'm doing all throughout these rooms to make it go faster. Probably the most important thing is ledge hopping, where if I'm jumping towards a ledge that I have to grab onto because it's a little too high to just get up there immediately, I'm going to do a quick jump input to just like mantle over the ledge instead of having to climb up on it because that animation is really slow. So this is a little better.
And on the other end, you got the sliding down ledges that just
That's kind of the opposite of it.
Yeah.
Where I'll do something like this. I'll slide down a ledge and then activate a respin to give myself the highest possible falling momentum as soon as possible. Now, unfortunately, in this game, we are able to do coyote jumps, where when we slide off of a ledge, there's a little moment where we can still do a jump. So if I press jump too early to try to respin and get that extra momentum, I might accidentally end up jumping instead, which is a bit of a shame. Hang on, there we go. What I did there was I did the little switch zoom in hotkey, which is double-click home, because clicking the home button is the cancel turbo on my turbo controller. So by doing that, I canceled a little turbo mistake that I made earlier. Here I'm going to do another difficult wall jump setup. This is called Magus Skip, and doing Corpius first before getting the charge beam makes this necessary. This is similar to that wall jump that I did earlier, but it's a little bit tighter. Keep bonking my head. There we go. All right. Now we're going to just quickly go into that door and immediately go back. And what that does is it spawns the Emmy, which we do need because we need to be able to destroy that Emmy in order to advance, which we're going to do by blowing up this central unit here. And again, I'm going to use turbo here just to make sure that I can fire as fast as possible without ruining my hands. Now, boys, do I go for the risky strat?
Yes.
Oh yeah, at least once.
Absolutely.
All right, we're doing it. I did spend some time practicing this earlier today, so it should be fine. Hopefully I won't die. All right, that looks good. Nice. So by doing that, thank you. By doing that, this Emmy will die on this side of the door, which when the cutscene of this, us kind of eating the Emmy starts playing, will be on this side of the door as well, which saves a little bit of time, because otherwise, if I'd killed it the safe way, we would have been all the way in that other room in the top right corner. So we would have been a decent ways away, and we're trying to go to the left, so... Oh, this name is the same in German. Wow, look at that. So the spider magnet allows us to climb up blue surfaces, like the one on the left in this room. We're going to be using this constantly because these things are all over the place. And it lets us do some pretty cool movement in some later rooms, so keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, they're generally found on walls, on ceilings. Just as you can see in this room, they're just plastered everywhere.
Oops. So right now, we're trying to just head to the next region of the game now that we've finished up everything we need to do around here. And I'm going to try, a couple rooms from now, I'm going to try a difficult damage boost strat to get up to where the elevator to the next region is a little bit faster. I'm hoping I don't mess it up, because if I do, that would be a lot of time loss. But again, I've been practicing it, so it should be all right. Here goes nothing. Look at that.
There we go.
Well, it's very well manipulated. You had the exact right cycle. You removed the enemies you didn't need. You made a quick short hop to, flip the enemy over to the other side, get it into its attack cycle, then quickly take a damage boost to get on the ledge so we can skip hanging on the ceiling.
Yeah, which takes about 15 seconds to just like drag you over all the way from one side of the room to the other. This is a lot faster than that.
In the meantime, I think this would be a nice time for a donation.
It would, yeah.
We actually got 2, and I think these are some messages from home for you, so I'm
They
going to
might
just read
be.
these out. We got 50 euros from Curix,
Hey, bro.
saying had to support my siblings' first speedrunning the marathon. I love your detail. Now show that lime green Luigi licking Ligma Larry's who's boss.
Will
We
do.
also got another 50 euros. And this one's going to add some pressure to this run. It's from MNS, from Hengelo, Winky
Oh, dear.
Face, saying, and we'll donate another 10 euros for every minute underestimate.
Oh, okay,
Go
I can do
for
that.
it, Detail.
I
Love
can
you.
do that. I love you guys too. All right. So this is actually the last time that we're going to be talking to Adam this run, because all of these cutscenes take a really long time just to wait for Adam to wake up and then mashing through his text and whatnot. So instead, a couple minutes from now, we're going to do a skip called Adam Save Skip, where we're going to do some difficult wall jumps, and that's going to prevent us from having to do that for the rest of the run, which is great.
Poor
right
guy,
now-
he tries so hard.
Yeah, he really does. He just wants a friend, man.
Yeah.
Now, right now,
I don't know if he wants a friend. He wants to talk about the Emmys all the time.
He's
True.
a bit obsessed. Yeah.
he is. I kind of mashed through that text, but that was the second Adam cutscene that we watched. If you just mash through it at a more normal speed, Adam will kind of get stuck in his voice clips and just say Emmy, 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 and it sounds great. Oh,
All right.
that was weird, but sure. So right now in Catarus, what we're trying to do is going through this kind of maze-like section with all of these little elevators and buttons and whatnot, and we're trying to hit a couple lava switches, which will open up thermal fuel doors to allow us to advance. And we're going to do a little sequence break in that, which is Adam Save Skip, like I just described, which is going to prevent us from having to press one of those. So that's also good. Saves a bit of extra time that way. Nice. So this enemy can spawn in a lot of different places right here, and that is probably the single easiest one to deal with. So I love to see that. I'm going to just go up here.
Yeah, Green Emmy is, in my opinion, the worst, just because
For
of
sure.
the amount of variety
For
he's
sure.
got going on.
In that room, you can spawn in 6 different locations. In a later one, you can spawn in 5. It's just such a mess. Speaking of spawning in 5 different locations, let's see where he is. Because we're going to go right back.
Bottom left.
Okay, I can deal with this.
Yeah.
That's good. That's, again, one of the easier variations, so that's really nice. If you take too long there, he can sometimes start taking a sprint towards you. I missed my parry, but it's usually not that bad. Ah.
So
You
one,
can,
so one quick thing I wanted to notice is sometimes you see details sliding through a certain door. Normally you'd have to activate the Phantom Cloak to walk through that, but that is kind of slow. So we invented the cloak sliding, as I call it.
So what you do is you enter a slide, and then as the slide is starting, you can still activate the Phantom Cloak and turn invisible. And so that's going to prevent you from getting slowed down by the Phantom Cloak like you normally would, but you'll just keep all the speed from your slide instead, which is way faster. So by doing that every time that we go through one of the motion sensor doors, it saves a bunch of time. Like right there. Oh, I missed. That's a shame. If you don't kill that guy, he can usually get a hit on you there, but doesn't really matter. We have health to spare. All right, I'm going to shut up for a second. This is tough.
Yeah.
Let's go.
There we go.
So by my standards, that was pretty good. That was 5th try, I think.
Yeah.
Which is definitely keepable if I were able to reset right now. That was Adam's safe skip. It's just a really tight wall jump where you have to frame perfectly, melee the wall above you to push yourself into the right position. It's probably the toughest trick in the run, and getting it that quickly is definitely very nice.
Hitting a nice pseudo wave charge shot.
Yep.
The switch there.
That way we can avoid having to slide under the wall,
Yeah.
which saves like a second or two. Getting it second try is a bit of a bummer, but that's okay.
It's about equal to just sliding.
Yeah, it's about the same as just doing it normally.
Yeah.
All right, and with that, we've removed the heat from the room below us, so we can just go there safely without quickly dying now, which is great because we need to go there to open up the way to the next region of the game. Here we're gonna just quickly jump over this Emmy. Oh dear. Okay, that was close. Usually that's a really consistent strat, but I accidentally grabbed onto the wall on the right and got myself stuck for a second, which made it a little closer than it needed to be, but we're fine.
We're talking about the green Emmy RNG for quite a while, but in that room, it just spawns there consistently. So
Yes.
if you can execute the strat correctly, you'll be-
Usually it's not a bother.
yeah, you're going to be fine.
And that's also luckily the last time that we'll have to deal with that particular Emmy, so no need to worry about him anymore.
I mean, until we shoot him in the face a bunch.
Well, yeah, but again, he's not really going to get in our way much.
No.
It's going to be us getting in his way,
Yeah.
so that's fine.
Returning the favor.
Exactly. All right, so this is the final lava switch we need to press. The only thing that does is open up the door right to the left of it. I don't really know why this switch is there. It doesn't really do anything, but, you know, sure.
Feel like they're rerouting lava for energy thing.
I guess.
Powering up the facilities,
Yeah.
turning on the lights, getting all the monsters to work. You know, a little bit of lava can work very motivating if it's chasing you.
Oh yeah.
Oh dear. We're gonna be having a taste of that later as well.
Gotta love it.
All right, with that, we're
Yeah,
into another long loading zone, so
I
if
walked
there's
right into
donations,
that one.
then they'd be great, but I don't know, we don't have any. Okay, never mind.
I mean, I could still talk about some donation incentives.
Feel free to do that.
We just got a couple left, and there are some that you really want to donate to. The Evil Within 2 later on tonight has the
That's you,
character
the other
outfit.
Oh.
That you can still choose between Survivor, Professional, Drifter, and Classic. All of those are still at 0, so any donation will get you to will get the one you want in the lead. And the same story goes for Dead Rising 4, also later tonight. There's also a costume choice there between Zero from Mega Man X, Summer Dress Santa, Morrigan from Darkstalkers, Hager, and Gil, I don't know how to pronounce it, from Guile, thank you, from Street Fighter. Again, all of those are still at 0, so any donation is going to get you to choose whichever you want. And then if that's not enough, there's also still the file name for Final Fantasy Fables Chocobo Tales. Hey, that's my run. Tomorrow morning. No names on that just yet, so a lot of options right there. And honestly, with a single €3 donation, you could get one for all 3 of them. Now that's a deal right there.
And meanwhile, we're in the dark rooms here, where we're just gonna power it up and light it up.
Finally, we can see where we're going.
Personally, I love those rooms atmospherically, just suddenly dark and
That was
Very
definitely
nice.
a fun time going through here the first time
Yeah.
playing the game, just
Yeah.
like finding your way through it. But obviously, I know where to go, so.
yeah. For those who've never played this game before, just go and play it. Do a casual playthrough. It's a treat.
It's really good. All right, and with that, we've got what we came here for, the wide beam, which again has been untranslated, apparently.
Yeah.
So what this does is it essentially triples our beam. We just fire 3 shots instead of 1 parallel to each other, which makes it, as the name suggests, really wide, which is great because now I don't need to aim really well anymore. Gonna do a quick slide here, shoot that thing with missiles to get past it, and then go over here. Now, with the wide beam, we can go back to Catarus right away and go shoot the green enemy, like we were saying. And there's really nothing left for us to do in Dyron at the moment, so that's really just where we're going. Nothing else on our mind. Wide beam boxes, like the one I'm about to shoot right here, are very finicky items. We only need to do a couple of them throughout this run, but especially this one right here can be a real pain. Okay, good. A lot of the time, even when you think that you got them right, they just won't budge, and you're just standing there like, what did I do wrong?
Yeah.
But it's...
Should have tried through the center, and then the top one's like, nope.
Yeah, exactly. Or sometimes all 3 buttons light up, but it still doesn't move.
Yeah.
It just Uno reverse cards you.
Yeah, it's weird. But so far, they've been kind, so that's good. We've only got a few of them left. I think 3 more? The one coming up, then the one after Frenia. I don't know. We'll see. So we're going to Catarus again to get rid of the green Emmy, to get another major item, and then we're gonna finally like get more of a move on again. But for right now, it's just a bunch of movement and nothing much else happening. This run has a decent amount of downtime, which is good because, like I said before, there's a lot of small movement things that I can talk about if I can remember them, which is honestly a big if with me, but we'll see. Otherwise,
so far so good.
Maybe one of my commentators will be able to cover it.
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
my bad. So again, same as before, because we're going into a mini boss fight of sorts, I'm going to be activating turbo on the gun button just to make this easier on my hands. For the missiles, I don't really need it because their rate of fire is so slow anyway, but for the regular beam, it's definitely nice. Risky strat?
Oh yeah.
All right, we're doing it. Should be fine. I practiced this one too. All right, that looks pretty all right. Should be fine. Nice.
Very good.
So by doing that, it's similar to what we did with the white Emmy earlier, where it just spawns us on the other side of that little wall there that we slid under, which is a little bit faster than if we spawned on the left side.
It's far more riskier, though. It's usually better to start off on the other side if you're just, you know, learning to run, basically.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's a lot safer.
First thing I learned is just right out the door, aim at the right direction.
That's what I did for the longest time.
Yeah.
I only actually learned this strat last week.
Oh, geez. All right, well, doing
I'm
good
glad it worked.
Now, with the green Emmy down, we finally get the Morph Ball, which is normally quite unusual for Super Metroid games, where you usually start off with the Morph Ball first.
Yep.
This is going to open up a few different new areas where we can go to.
Yep. And it's going to let us go through these little sorts of tunnel areas. And there's a lot that goes into moving quickly through these with the way that the Morph Ball affects your momentum when you're in the air and when you're running and whatnot. And it's really context dependent and really particular, so I usually won't be commenting on it, but
Yeah,
if I can get it right, you'll see that I'm going really fast.
You'll also see constant sliding into tunnels, so that auto puts you in Morph Ball.
Yep.
Slide is slightly faster to start off with.
Usually, yeah. It tapers off a bit at the end, so you actually want to manually interrupt it with the Morph Ball most of the time, because the automatic morph only happens like after the slide is completely
Right, yeah,
over,
yeah.
which is pretty slow. But yeah, you're right. Otherwise. So yeah, again, there's a lot of these sorts of loading zones in the run. I'm going to be taking Killer's example in a minute here and use them to
Oh yeah.
take a drink when I need to, because
That's what
my
I
mouth
used to do
is
during
so
these.
dry. Now, we're headed back to Artaria, first region of the game. This first half hour or so is pretty much self-contained in these first 3 areas, where we're just kind of bouncing back and forth between them, collecting all the items we need to set up into the mid-game. And we're going to go roll under that guy before he can bite me. Very nice. And then hopefully get a smooth jump. Nice, there we go. And another, yeah, good. So again, tunnel movement, that's a shame. What you would like to do there is slide over that gap, but I missed it, so whatever. So here's what I was talking about before. We're gonna get chased by some lava ourselves. I don't think there's actually lava in this room. Is there?
No, the
it
heat
just gets warm.
It just gets warm. It's something about global warming, I think, you know?
Yeah, probably.
I mean, flames start just appearing, things start falling.
Definitely has nothing to do with Samus just suddenly injecting that lava stream in here.
Definitely not.
No, it just feels right at home at Australia.
So right here is a pretty cool section. Oh. From a runner's perspective, we're really combining all of the techniques that we've been using throughout the rest of the run in rapid succession just to go through that as fast as possible. It's really satisfying to do quickly, but I messed up a few things there, so oh well.
Yeah.
And that gives us the Varia suit. Again, untranslated. Terrible choice of language, really.
Yeah, so actually we normally take damage from fire. Various suit actually protects you against it. So the game is really generous. It lets you go through this heat-seeking room, which terrifies you first on a casual run, and then you can actually get the various suit.
So, quick correction, it doesn't protect you against fire.
Oh, I meant heat, sorry.
Yeah.
There you go. That's what I thought, but just to confirm. Fire will very much still hurt.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh,
we're going to be
yes.
finding that out pretty soon, actually.
Don't fall in lava either. It doesn't protect you against lava.
It
It
does
protects you
not.
against the heat. And if you are in a heat room, you can actually very visually clearly see it by the room being entirely red. You can also see it on the map itself, that if you have a chance to look at the map, it'll show the red segments. And then you know you've been in a heat room before. And without the various suit, taking damage in heat rooms, not a fun thing to have.
This is also where we tend to make elevator music jokes.
I know, but these are teleporters.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
elevator music here. I mean, I'm
She's
not sure
still
Samus
ascending.
even has ears anymore. She's like being
You're-
split up into molecules and everything.
Well,
You're being
Star Trek pseudoscience.
disintegrated. Yeah, you're being disintegrated and then it's re-assimilated into a different position.
Same thing as an elevator.
So before this upcoming boss,
Yeah, but those
we
jokes
do
were
have a
coming in
short
so many
second
levels.
for Cool to read this donation.
I got another message from home for you. This one's from Emmy, €5, saying, as a fellow Emmy, I had to donate during this run. Good luck. Cheers from your brother's housemate.
Hey, I appreciate that. Thank you, Em.
I'm sorry for being an Emmy. They have
Right.
it rough in this game.
So, like I said, the Varia suit does not protect us against fire, but so far I've been doing a good job of avoiding it. Oh, no! Why did I open my mouth? Oh, shit.
And it does not protect against lava.
It does not do that either, no. Okay, well, that was a little embarrassing, but it's okay.
Got a full heal here, basically.
Yeah, that door just heals you back to full every time, so you don't really need to worry about it. Time for Kraid.
Hi, great.
Now, this is one of the main sources of RNG in this run, and I'm hoping that Kraid is going to just throw nails at us, and look at that, very good.
I guess you could say he nailed it.
You could say that. I really wish you didn't, but you could. So, oh, wait. So this is really nice of Kraid. He's letting us up early without me needing to fully damage his belly, so that's awesome. If I don't get knocked off of this little platform that I'm holding on to, this boss should be done very soon. Again, why did I open my mouth? But it's fine. We're just going to keep shooting his belly button. It's already very damaged from before, so it's not going to take too long. And then we just wait, and he's going to shoot down this platform again. And we can just ride it up.
There is actually a fun kind of quick kill in this fight, but to do that you would have to get the morph bombs earlier. That just takes a whole bunch more time than just killing him.
It's not actually worth it to do in any percent, unfortunately, but it's such a cool thing that we do have a category extension dedicated to it, where the entire goal is just to do that as fast as possible. Which I'm actually planning to run after this marathon is
Oh,
over.
very cool.
Oh.
Alright, defeating Kraid gives us the diffusion beam, which is a permanent upgrade to the charge beam. What it's going to do is it's going to make our charge shots explode when they hit stuff. So they get a much bigger hitbox, they do more damage, and we're going to use that for a few sequence breaks later on.
You can definitely see it by if it hits the wall, for example, it has all those purple orbs around it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's basically an area of effect shot, what you get at the end of the blast.
Yeah. And so that's going to allow us to do stuff like right just there on the way to this teleporter. We shot a block that was stuck in the middle of a wall, because we can reach those now without needing to do the whole pseudo wave thing. Not that we're going to stop doing that.
No,
Oh,
we're still going to use it, absolutely.
But,
I mean,
but we don't-
pseudo waves are
we often
excellent.
don't need to anymore.
no.
They're just hard to execute.
So right here, we're going to do this again. There's this block stuck in the wall, and I'm just going to go poof. So that was another instant charge like I was describing at the start of the run. I just jump up with a spin jump, and then in the middle of it, I let go a charge shot, and it's fully charged, even though it never had time to. So right here, we're going to use coyote jumps to do a sequence break. Going to jump over there, and then the harder one over here. Nice.
There we go.
Nice.
Could you tally the left column for me, please?
The left
Yep.
column. All right.
Actually, let me think back. Have I gotten any other
No, most of the things were either second or
Yeah, I think so
multiple tries.
too. Even the pseudo wave for the lava switch earlier was also second try. That's a shame. But oh well. So far so good. So doing this sequence break brings us back down to Artaria again, and that's going to let us get the grappling beam.
Okay, so I have a question. Why is it called a lift in the UK and an elevator in the United States?
I feel like this is going to be a terrible pun, but
No,
I
no,
don't
no,
know.
roll with it.
Why is it called that?
They're raised differently.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Elevating us to new heights, that joke.
Just lifting the spirits.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
sure I can lift with that. Oh.
Raise your hands if you're having a good time. All right, cool.
It's going to be like this all night. All right,
Yeah,
so
we
like I
found out we're
said,
both terrible.
we get the grapple
Oh
beam.
yeah, definitely.
No worries.
Go on.
Again, it's untranslated, apparently. I'm a bit sad about that. I purposely, I didn't look into what any of the items are called on the other languages besides English, just to like leave a little surprise for myself. But apparently for German, they're mostly the same, so that's a little bit sad, but it's okay. Now that we have the grappling beam, we can go up these sorts of little sections by just shooting up to those blue walls instead of just jumping to them.
Yeah, you can
is nice.
you can instantly use the grapple beam to connect to spider magnet walls, what Detail just said, and there are of course very obvious blue triangular blocks that you can now grapple onto, and you either use them to pull towards you, open doors. So it just is basically a new key item for you to unlock stuff.
Yep. And by getting it early, we're setting up for getting the bombs a little bit early as well. Neither of these items are actually out of order. They are the next items that we're supposed to get. It's just that we skipped a bunch of stuff that we'd normally have to do first. And so here we're back where we were before, where we did the early grapple trick, and we're going to do it again, but in reverse this time, which is luckily a lot easier. Just going to go over here, roll
It's
around
very
a bit.
scary if it goes wrong though.
It is, it is. If you fall in the lava on the right side, you don't have enough time to make it back to safe land, and you just die. So it's definitely a scary trick to do.
It's also hilarious that you get the grapple beam, and then there's instantly multiple things to grapple onto, but we just ignore them.
Yeah. So right there, you might have noticed that was another room with Adam in it, but I just completely ignored him. Normally, the door there would just lock, and you wouldn't be allowed to pass. But because we did Adam save skip earlier in the run, they're just going to be open, and we can run right past him without talking to him.
Adam feels so left out.
He really does.
Sad
It's so
Adam
sad.
noises.
Sadam, if you will.
Yeah.
Emmy.
Emmy.
But now he sounds sad while he says it.
Emmy. Oh, my bad. Shouldn't have charged a charge shot there. So right here, I'm going to try to shoot this block. Oh. I was going to shoot the block before this cutscene started, but I was too far off the pressure pad, so it didn't even actually start yet. So, I mean, I did shoot the block before the cutscene started. I mean,
Yeah.
I did the thing. All right. So yeah, like I said, this is going to set us up to get bombs, which are right over here through this room again. And unfortunately, these guys have respawned, so I have to do the same strat again.
Yeah, so those guys die with one full charge shot and a missile follow-up.
That will work. What I like to do is just mash the gun afterwards.
Oh, word.
I think it's a
Also
little bit
works.
easier than switching to the missiles.
It's a little bit different this time though. It has an
Bomba.
E to it.
Nice.
Ah.
Look at that. I think actually on English they're actually called bombs, not bombs, so it's even more different. Nice. All right, with the bombs, we can go to the next region of the game finally. So we're going to go down here and use the bombs to activate these bomb tunnels, which shoot us down into all sorts of new rooms. We're going to run past this ominous-looking corpse, which would normally be foreshadowing to a later boss, but we skipped that boss, so nobody really cares in this run.
No, he's just gonna continue
Hey.
on suffering until the end of time.
Yeah.
Did you see that, Diane? I did the thing that I was struggling with. So that's nice. But yeah, with the bombs, we can head to the next region, Barinia, which is filled with water, much like this room. And it's a difficult section, but a really satisfying one to do fast, so I'm going to try to focus on it for a second. And I hope that my commentators will be able to carry it a little bit. In the meantime, again, loading zones, great time for donations, plugs, or whatever.
Sure
So,
thing. I was about to say, you know, if they can't, I can surely talk about something. Did you know that, you know, by donating, you can actually win some prizes? We had them on stream earlier during the interview. But throughout the marathon, any donation or sum of donations of 25 euros or more will make you eligible to win one of 4 prizes. We have the Pikmin plushie, which is a BSG exclusive Pikmin. We have a Rayman plushie of the Electoon. We have a Nidoking plushie for Pokemon. And then there is the painting. Well, the plushies have been provided by Renabo, and the painting has been provided by Kim Bosch. So thank you very much for that. And, you know, get your donations in, because these are some really, really fun little prizes for sure.
Like I said, I'm going to be quiet here because I want to get this right.
Yep, fair enough.
In that case, I'm just going to go on a little longer. You can consider using your free monthly Prime Gaming subscription right here on the ESA channel. You'll get access to all of the ESA emotes as well as several BSG emotes, and you get to support both of the events in the process.
Thank you. That's about it for the part that I still struggle with. And of course, as soon as I say that, I get hit by a bunch of enemies, but that's all right. Again, we walked right past Adam without talking to him, and he's still sad. That's going to happen a bunch more. That trick that we did all the way at the start of the run to skip all those Adam cutscenes saves almost 3 minutes over the course of the entire run because he just talks that much.
He's got a lot to say.
He does.
A lot on his mind.
The Emmy is mine.
He does say that. That's true. I'm surprised that you knew that. That's like a really specific one.
Obscure facts.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that you knew about that one.
So now we're coming up on one of the coolest abilities in the game.
Oh yeah. This one's really important to the speedrun as well. It's the flash shift, which allows us to just instantly like go forwards or backwards whenever we want, as long as we still have Eon energy, which is the resource that we have to use items with. And it's on a little bit of a recharge timer, but the thing about it is we're going to be using it everywhere, like every few seconds for the rest of the run, because it just makes you go fast. And at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do, so it's a very useful ability.
Yeah, except we can't use it underwater.
We cannot use it underwater, so underwater I'm still just going to be doing these little hops because that's the fastest way to move. Now there's these couple fish in my way. Ideally, I would kill them on the first cycle when we go down here, but usually that doesn't quite work, so I'll have to give them a few more shots when we go back up. That's okay. I'm going to do a quick little instant charge. Oh, instant charge and another one to shoot that block from a little further away. Then we're going to make our way back up here, and we're going to do another glitch. Whoa! Underwater bomb jump. So if I set it upright, there we go.
There we go.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Diane?
Second try, really nice.
Yeah,
No, that
trick
was
is
first try.
actually
The fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the mistake that I made was I accidentally did a... Okay, so that was a messed up form of ledge storage, where if you press it a frame too early, the morph ball goes rocketing up. So the jump itself was actually first try. So if you could tally that, that would be great.
Yeah, I'm tallying that.
In case you're wondering what that's all about, I have a little bit of a graph here, or a table, for stuff that can happen, specifically first try tricks and deaths in the run. For the former, I'll be donating €5 each at the end of the run, and for the latter, I'll be donating 10. So I'm still hoping I don't die, but if I do, it won't be quite as sour. So that's nice.
Oh, I know where to take that off.
I have no idea what that means.
You mentioned the list.
I'm still confused.
That's okay.
I'm just going to go right past that, and we're going to do a little bit of a slower bit of movement through that water. By doing that, we make sure that that Emmy there can't catch us. If you went too fast, he would have actually come around the other side of the platform and gone to meet you. But by going under there a little more slowly, he will never do that. Oh, excuse me, gotta fix my turbo again. There we go.
Yeah, meanwhile, while we have a moment, the water bomb jump you saw earlier is a weird case of like storing bouncing momentum and using that from a mid-air bounce or mid-underwater bounce to just get a tiny little bit of extra height, and that allows us to skip more things.
Yeah, you're not allowed to store this. You're not allowed to bomb jump out of the water. So by storing it into your first one, you actually can use it in the air to gain the height, just like Killer Chair just said.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing that a few more times later on in the run. They're going to be a lot more important later. This one here only saved about 5 seconds to do, but later on we're going to use it for a sequence break.
That was the speed booster, Emmy.
Yep. It
We haven't seen it
unironically died really quickly.
Yeah.
Staying true to its roots.
Yeah, that's what it's about. It's all about the speed.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, you'll actually unlock the speed booster.
Which is a whole thing in this game.
Yeah, no, it's a mouthful in terms of what you can do with it. Luckily, in this particular run, we don't abuse it quite as much as you can. in 100% for this game especially, it's really impressive, the stuff that they do with this item. But for any percent, it's going to be a little more relaxed. We're just going to use it to break open speed booster blocks, to move fast, as the name implies, and also to do what's called a shine spark, like right here. I'm going to hold down on the control stick and store up the energy from the speed booster. And I'm going to head over here with that energy, and I'm going to immediately zoom on to the right. That strat's a little harder than it looks, but I got it. And there we did a shine spark straight up. Lasted a little bit longer. You got a better look at it. Whoa, there. That's not where I'm supposed to go. So by doing that, you can just send yourself rocketing in a direction of your choosing, which is very, very quick. But unfortunately, it's only worth to do if you've got like a really long room of some kind, because it does take a bit to set up. So a lot of the time, it's not worth trying to go for shine sparks just anywhere, but we are going to be doing a few of them.
Yeah. And as you could see, there's like things you could do, like jumping, sliding, rolling. Like speed booster is nuts in this game.
Yeah, you can keep your momentum for a lot of things.
Yeah.
Just as long as you know where to execute, where to jump, where to roll, you can do all sorts of things, which we're going to actually see later on back in Berenia.
Yeah, in Berenia and in Gavaran, we're going to do some funny speed booster movement. I'm actually also going to do some speed booster movement right here, but it's going to be a little tamer. I'm just going to store a shine spark and then try to maintain that charge up to where I need it.
Nice.
There we go.
Can you tally that for me, Diane?
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so right here we have another mini-boss. This is the robot Chozo soldier. We
Speaking of
skipped
shine
a
sparking.
cutscene just now where he shot that bird guy in the background here, and he's dead now, but we can take revenge, luckily.
Bird Uncle, no!
Bird
Uncle.
Uncle. So, like Killer said, we're using shine sparks to dispatch this guy because they do a lot of damage to enemies if you make contact with them. So that's a really fast way to deal with a few bosses in this game, including this one. But we're going to be using it on, I think, probably most of the bosses throughout the rest of the game, other than the Chozo soldiers.
Well, of course it will hurt a lot. You're flying around with a giant jetpack
True.
into something at
And we
like
got a
Mach
missile
speed.
there. Nice.
Very nice.
That shine spark is really tough to do casually. That took me a long time, but at this point I'm used to it.
Just for the record, by the way, Bird Uncle is the best character in the game.
Oh
right?
no, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that.
But
Right.
also, we got some time.
Yeah.
I think it's time for a
if you have a
donation.
donation.
Sure thing. We just got another €5 from Yost saying Willow, more like Will get a low time. Good
I'll
luck,
do my
bud.
best.
The people you happen to like at school are cheering you on.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that.
This elevator looks broken though.
That's one of my old high school friends right there.
It's coming down with something.
There you go.
Thanks,
I mean,
Diane.
you know the elevator life, right? Ups and downs.
Oh, man. All right, so right there, again, we ignored Adam a bunch. And we hit another wide beam box. And then we're using the flash shift to head through these couple rooms. Oop. Now, there's actually a faster way to do this section through a few different rooms. It's just like an entirely different route. Oop, my bad. But I haven't actually looked into that because I only found out that that was a thing last week. And I haven't really had the time between all the other things I've wanted to practice. So I just decided to put that on the back burner for now. And so you might recognize these rooms. Last time we were here, it was still the Emmy zone, but we since got rid of that Emmy, so it's a little brighter now. And we're back into this little wet area where we're going to head back to Berenia again. In a cutscene that we skipped after killing that bird robot mini-boss guy. Oh, look at that spike go.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, in a cutscene that we skipped after killing that boss, there was... Bird Uncle opened up this, like, weird room in Berenia that, like, it's got, like, a big elevator in it, and we can go under that now to reach some new areas. So that's where we're headed. Doing that, we're going to head towards another big sequence break. Probably one of the bigger ones in the run,
Oh, yeah.
for sure.
Another boss we skip with that.
Yeah, and that is a really long boss, too. I believe in the boss rush world record, because Dread does actually have a boss rush mode, I think in the boss rush world record, that fight takes almost a minute and a half.
Sounds about right.
But that's like if you're doing it like the optimal way and everything, and it's just like, it's really slow.
And for people who don't know about that boss, it's an underwater boss. You'll hate it.
Enough said.
It's another one, a boss. It has a lot of things going on for it. It'll take a lot of time.
I actually really enjoyed fighting that boss casually, but if I had to do it every time I did a run, I think I would go
Yeah.
insane. I forgot that I needed to do a speed booster setup here. Let me try that. And there we go. On good
luck.
pace so far. There we go.
Very good.
Dime, if you would.
Oh yeah, of course, mark it.
Thank you.
All right, so
I have a list in my head of all the things that count for that, don't worry.
remember the pseudo wave thing we talked about?
Nice. Oh, that was very fast. So that was actually another... Oh dear. Okay, well, that's fine. I'll just have to kill these enemies. That's no worries. Oh, shoot. I didn't realize I was actually close enough to reach that. Right, so that was a little bit iffy, but I did do the trick really quickly, so it's mostly fine. That was Drogiga skip. Like we just said, that skips a really slow underwater boss. And it's a pseudo wave like we did all the way at the start of the run, where we position Samus so that the arm cannon clips out of bounds and we can shoot a block that you wouldn't normally be able to get to. But in this case, we needed the diffusion beam to be able to do it, because that explosion from the charge beam shot can actually reach that block. But normally we wouldn't be able to do that. And that unlocks a new area, Gavaran, which is really pretty and green. It's got lots of cute animals, but they're going to be scared as soon as we get up there, and it makes me really sad. They're so cute. Look at them.
Do we get to save them?
I'm afraid not. It's
No.
that's not going to fly. I'm wearing my Save the Animals t-shirt, but it's not going to happen. So right here, we're going to, again, use a Shine Spark on a boss, like we were saying before. And it's another one of these dudes, but he's golden this time, which means he has more health and does more damage. That makes sense.
Of course, he's upgraded.
Parry him, just stun him for a little while.
You know how different colors improve things?
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, when we turn purple, suddenly we're able to swim. So.
Yeah.
That's why I wear this red shirt, Metroid Red.
Hey!
Ah,
Oh, man.
I thought you wore it because red is the fastest color.
Opinions may vary on results.
That's an obscure reference, I guess.
All right, some good flash shift movement throughout those few rounds. I'm happy about that. Ah, that's a shame. If you're really smooth, you can get a morph ball in, like, really early there, right when you're jumping, and you can just jump into that tunnel instantly. And it's really cool looking, but I've actually never done it. Go for it every time, though.
And now we have the weak missile, I mean super missile.
Yeah, so the super missiles, as the name implies, are a passive upgrade to the missiles. They just kind of overwrite them all together, as opposed to other Metroid games where they're a whole separate weapon. But in this game, you actually really don't want the super missiles, because while they do a lot more damage than regular missiles individually, they have a terrible rate of fire. So if you're actually fighting a boss or something, they have a worse damage output. It's really sad. Ideally, I'll only need to use 3 of them throughout the entire run, but we'll have to see. Ah, that's a shame.
Yeah, you essentially need the super missiles for a few doors, and that's it.
That's literally it. I mean, we've already done all of them, I'm pretty sure. I think all of the super missile doors have already passed at this point.
Yeah.
If I don't mess anything up, we will not be using that item again for the remaining, what, 30, 40 minutes of the run?
Yeah.
So now we're headed to Elon, which is the smallest region of the game. We're just going to be doing a little story stuff and getting an item, and then we're immediately going to leave again.
This is the plot twist, not plot twist area.
Yeah.
This was the area where the designers were like, oh yeah, we need to actually reverse this entire lore storyline.
Pretty much. No, so right here, Elon is actually a very interesting section from my perspective as the runner, where we're trying to constantly manage our flash shift really well, because there's a lot of cutscenes in this area every time that you go through certain doors. And so by just completely expending your flash shift charge when you go into those, it'll get refreshed right away, and you can kind of win a little bit of time that way. Whoop, there we go. Like right here. Ah, I messed it up. That one's actually a little bit tricky because if you flash it too early, you're just going to bonk into the door and your flash shift will be canceled and everything sucks. But luckily, that flash shift is not super important anyway. So
This
we're
is
just
where-
going to damage boost.
This is where the game also introduces you to the new enemy types, which are of course the X enemies.
Yes.
They're mainly made out of blobs of genetic flying material. And they're actually the natural prey of Metroids.
Yep.
That's why they're so resentful against the Metroids themselves.
And that's
Although
also why there's
natural
so
prey
many
is
now.
probably not the right word because the Metroids were actually
True.
like genetically engineered because the X were getting
Yeah.
out of hand. So there's a little bit of a story there.
Yeah, so as it turns out, these X-parasites are
Oh.
kind of an all-consuming force in the universe
Yeah.
that is just...
Now that in previous Metroid games, Samus actually killed all of the remaining Metroids, the X have no predators left and they're kind of overtaking this planet. So we have to put a stop to that if we can. And this mini-boss right here is a dead Chozo soldier, the corpse of an ancient Chozo soldier reanimated by one of the X-parasites. But he doesn't have too much health, so with the whole turbo thing, he's not going to last for very long. All I have to do is parry him twice, and then the fight is over.
Very good.
Eat up.
Lunchtime.
And we're going to get this last E-Tank. Normally, I wouldn't get this one because it's a little slow. But just for safety in a marathon, it's definitely a good idea because the difference between 3 and 4 extra E-Tanks is pretty big. Then immediately after, I'm going to jump over this guy because if you run into him with the speed booster, there's a chance that your game crashes. And we really don't want that to happen.
I've never had that happen.
It's pretty rare. It's 1 in a few thousand at most, but I've seen it happen to plenty of people back when we didn't know about it, and they would just run face first into it.
Yeah.
It's not pretty. There's another crash like that later on where using the speed booster to kill an enemy has a chance to crash the game, but, no, excuse me. There we go. Unfortunately, that particular enemy is a boss that we cannot skip, so we just have to pray. But luckily, that boss is right near a save point, so I have gone ahead and made a safety save on a different file. So if the game does happen to crash right here, then I can just quit out of the game and immediately set up on the other file and keep going.
So what happened there was actually the X now got unleashed into the rest of the entire zone. And what also happened is that the X infested Bird Uncle, which turned back on all the enemies that were previously immobile.
Yeah,
So I was going for a speed boost strat there, but I didn't quite get it. So we're going through this room a little bit slowly, but that's okay.
Nice movement.
Yeah, this room looks really cool. It's actually really easy. That's one of the easiest sections in the entire run, in my opinion. You just don't really have to think about it too much.
Very nice. Water bomb jump again.
Okay, that is one of the most stressful rooms in the run for me. I have lost 30, 40 seconds to that before without trouble. Yeah, she does that.
Yeah, that can happen.
That enemy spawns in exactly that location very regularly, so at this point I'm used to it. I'm not even scared anymore. So what we did right there was using a little bit of runway on the other side of this door, we got a speed booster charged up and did a shine spark to remove the armor from this central unit here. And then we just used the plasma beam to get rid of the rest of its health. Now we're going to do a funny strat. We're going to flash shift a couple times, slide under here, wall jump, and then flash shift on over here. And earlier, when we were going through this room on the left, I actually shot that door in the top right for seemingly no reason because I didn't go through it. That was for this reason. So this door is unlocked now, meaning that this Emmy will consider it as an option for when she's thinking of how to reach us. And this puts us in a really advantageous position because now we can just kind of shoot her while she's on the ceiling. I have not been aiming too great, but it's still okay.
Yeah.
Just get it there and we're fine. I think that that underwater bomb jump was first try, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. Sally?
Please. My poor wallet. Nah.
Oh, it's going to die.
I knew just about how many tricks I was likely to do first try going into this, so I'm not surprised so far. It's going
Look,
well.
that tally, if it keeps going up, I might be able to get more sleep, so I'm grateful.
That's fair. That's fair.
Now we actually got a real missile upgrade.
Yes, the ice missiles. This is a really good one. So what this does is it increases the damage of our missiles yet again. It sets their rate of fire back to what it was originally, and it gives them the ability to freeze enemies. So all around, just a great upgrade. Love the ice missiles. We're going to be using those a lot as opposed to their big brother, the super missiles, which are really nothing but big.
And of course, the Enkies are very vulnerable, and the Enkies are those flamey wall thingies that are actually vulnerable to only two things. A stolen Omega Beam,
Yep.
which is
A funny glitch you can do.
a funny glitch you can do,
Not allowed
and
in
the
NMG.
ice missiles.
Yep. No, what Diane was talking about is you can take the Omega Blaster, which is that big weapon we get from the central units to kill the robots with, the Emmys. You can take that out of the Emmy zones if you do a couple of glitches in a couple places. But in NMG, that's just hard barred. Even though there are a few places where you can achieve it without doing anything that's specifically banned in NMG, just leaving an Emmy zone with the Omega Blaster is just straight up banned. So Unfortunately, we won't be doing that, but I'm not even sure if unrestricted does it. I don't know if it saves any time. All right, I'm going to be doing a difficult trick here, so I'm just going to be quiet. But first, I'm going to shine spark this guy, just for good measure. There we go.
Very good.
Very nice.
I'm gonna take that one off.
Yes, please. I'm very happy that I got that first try. I'm honestly pretty good at that trick as far as runners go, but it's still scary every time.
Yeah, the other method of getting here, because there is another method, it involves more pseudo waves, and it's got to do with a specific enemy on the left and a very specific animation.
It's a really weird pseudo wave.
Yeah.
You might consider looking it up. Just space jump pseudo wave would be the trick. It's a really cool strat. It looks sick, but it's also really difficult and kind of finicky, and I've never gotten it to work, so I've just stuck with the older strat because I'm really good at that one.
Yeah, they both are fairly similar in terms of time anyway.
You'd actually be surprised.
Yeah?
The pseudo wave saves about 8 seconds, so
right.
it's fairly meaningful. And that's, assuming you do everything perfectly.
Yeah.
But the pseudo wave is also a little bit more consistent, so arguably it saves more than that.
But still, it's very scary. You have to
really
get
is.
rid of 3 bomb blocks. You have to actually time it properly. Get back into that small gap. Place another bomb. Get back in. Yeah, it's just really scary every time, because if you mess it up, you're going to have to redo the entire strat all over again, which starts with the first block. So instead of just waiting it off and thinking, oh yeah, I have a couple of blocks destroyed, nah, that's not going to fly this time.
And in fact, the fact that those blocks respawn is the only reason that the trick works, because in a tunnel that's only 1 block wide, you're not allowed to do wall jumps. So normally you wouldn't be able to head up that if there were no bomb blocks, we wouldn't be able to head up there. But because they respawn, we can blow up the first one with such timing that when we've blown up the others, we can go back up there and land on the first one as it's respawning, which is just about the coolest thing in this run, in my opinion. Gonna try to avoid this missile pack. Nice.
There you go.
There's no reason to grab that. It's only a 2 missile upgrade, so it doesn't really affect us too much. And the text box lasts for like 3 or 4 seconds, so really there's no reason to grab it. Plus, this way, I might be able to end the run with exactly 74 maximum missiles, which would be cool because it matches my username. If you have a plug, now's a good time.
Sure thing, sure thing. I'd quickly like to thank Veilig Reserveren for offering BSG a ticketing system for our events. Veilig Reserveren is a Dutch ticketing system offering a back-end system for a variety of events, and we've been using them for a couple of years now. So yeah, thank you very much for supporting us.
All right, very good. So we just, after getting the space jump, we took an elevator down into Dyron, and now we've taken a teleporter down into Artaria, the very first region of the game, because we're going to be using the space jump to do another sequence break. And this is actually the only reason that getting the space jump early saves any time at all, because in a vacuum it's not really that useful at all, but because we can use it to get the screw attack out of order as well, that's when it starts saving a lot of time, like multiple minutes for sure. So that's really nice. But to do that, we are going to need to head through a couple cold rooms without having protection against the cold. So we're going to take a bunch of intentional damage to get over here. But again, I picked up a safety E-tank, so we're more than fine. And I can just go open this door, head back into the safe zone.
Now, you would think a Varius suit that protects against the heat would protect against the cold, but it doesn't work like that.
I guess not. It's probably just like, oh, I did another accidental failed ledge warp. That's kind of funny. I normally don't ever really do that. That happens very rarely, but now it's twice in one run. So that right there, that was early screw. Diane, that counts as first try, if you wouldn't mind.
And we're going to have to do that again.
Nice. And we are going to have to do that again. So that trick is very silly. It works because of like the weird way that collision is in this game. If Samus pushes against it, it can affect her movement in lots of strange ways. We abused this multiple times already throughout the run, for instance, to do Adam's save skip, as well as Maga's skip at the very start. So we've already done it a couple times, but this is a slightly different variation on a similar idea. And like Killer said, we're going to need to do it again, because to get into where the screw attack is, we came in through the back door, but now we actually want to exit out the top right of this room, so we're going to need to do it again. That's not first try. That's a shame, but oh well, it's good for my wallet. So let me try this again. There we go.
There we go.
I kind of bonked my head on the ceiling a little bit too hard there to still be able to do the trick, but that's all right. So we went and shot a little. Wow, I can talk tonight. We went into that room just to shoot a block, which kind of dropped this platform that we needed to walk over, and that allows us to come back over here. Now, if you'll remember, that was the room where earlier in the run we did our Taria water skip, but this time we're coming up it instead of down it to head back to the red teleportal. This section of the run is what I like to call the teleporter extravaganza, because we're going from the red warp to the orange warp to the green warp before we really get to do anything interesting again. So feel free to read a donation or two.
We just got 50 euros
Hey.
from, and I hope I'm not going to butcher your name here, Basil Ouija, saying
Hey.
gay rights, heart emoji.
Gay rights. For sure. Hey, Basil. Basil's a friend from the stream, so it's good to see them.
Very cool.
All right, like I said, we're just going to be heading straight for the orange warp as soon as we come out of here, so I'm just going to bomb open this little bit, and we're going to shoot open this bit, head up here, screw attack open another bit, and then stand on the orange warp and wait. Another one, and we've got another to do after this. It's a real interesting segment, this one. It's actually a very long split. It's about 4.5 minutes for me most of the time. To split from screw attack to the next item we're going to get.
I feel like you're just changing places.
What?
Swapping locations. Just teleporting around.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Am I missing a joke here?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Anyway, no, it's a very long split normally. It's about 4.5 minutes, but just a little over a minute of that is actually just loading zones. Here's a missile pack that we're kind of forced to get. There's really no way around this one, which is why I wanted to skip that earlier one, because now we've got 64 missiles, and there's a missile pack I can get later that gives us another 10, so then I can get to a neat 74 to match my username. So again, there's interesting tunnel movement there if I'd done it right, but unfortunately I didn't. Gonna do a Shine Spark here to get through the water, like that.
Yeah, you have just enough space to set up a Shine Spark.
Yeah, it's fairly tight, but once you get used to it,
Yeah.
I just end up using audio cues for it, which makes it a lot easier. I do that for pretty much every Shine Spark charge in this run because I've gotten used to it from the ones that need it, so I just do it everywhere now.
Actually, what's funny to notice is that your speed booster underwater is also slower than above water.
Correct. The Shine Sparks, and theoretically, if you manage to get a speed booster, I assume you'd also be slowed down, but I don't know how you would do that. Can you get a speed booster in a body of water?
I am not sure. I haven't seen it
I don't think
before.
you can do that. But either way, a Shine Spark very much is also slowed down, so you're right there.
And it's one of the very few times you can actually see it.
I don't think we're doing one again, because we're about to get the gravity suit, so we're never going to need to worry about it again. All right, got to try this. Dang it. That's a shame. So right there, if I'd been really smooth, I would have been able to charge a Shine Spark and blow up those speed booster blocks at the edge at the same time, which would have been really, really fast. That's a shame. Okay, I'm going to need to go back up here to charge a Shine Spark again. That's very, very sad to fuck that up.
Yeah, this one casually is probably one of the harder speed
for sure
boosters to set up. Just have to chain multiple Shine Sparks together.
Yeah, it's actually when you casually figure out that you can finally chain it together on those diagonal parts.
So yeah, this is the last missile pack I'm going to be picking up. There's another one that's going to try to entice me in a minute, but I'm going to skip it because I just really don't need it. Around 60 or 70 is really the maximum I'll ever want for the final boss fight. And like I said, I like the neat 74, so we're just going to leave it at that. Got a couple blocks to shoot here with a variety of weaponry to make this big container thing in the background fall down. That's going to break open this bridge down here, which we never saw in its proper state. But that allows us access into the room that contains the gravity suit, or as we like to call it, the magic pancakes. Because if you look closely, that's kind of what they look like.
Also another untranslated power-up.
Yep, like most of them. That's a bit of a shame. I like the bomba though.
Yeah.
That's good. All right, I'm gonna try to do another Shine Spark here in the water, but this time we're not slowed down. Very nice, perfect spacing. So by doing that, I shot up between this one piece of geometry on the left and one on the right. to get the most out of that Shine Spark. And now we've got another one of these robot bird mini-bosses, but there's 2 of them this time. We did this slightly out of order. Normally, you would fight another pair of these where one of them is golden and the other is gray. But we're fighting the double golden one first because of shenanigans. And I'm actually really low on health, so
Yeah,
I need to be really careful.
They are being mean.
That's a shame, yeah. No, I got a little poor RNG at the start, and I got surprised, and everything went downhill from there. But that's okay. That's a death, yeah. Thanks, Diane. First death of the run, at least, so that's fine. I'm going to take it a little slower this time. Try not to let anything get in my head. There's a pretty consistent strat for this, where you hit them with a screw attack, then you do 2 gunshots, then you hit them with a screw attack again, and so on and so forth. And doing that, they die pretty quickly, but if they give you poor RNG and you don't react to it right, then it can get really messy really quickly, which is what happened earlier.
Yeah, the screw attack does a lot of damage to those Chozo soldiers. It's insane how easy it actually makes them.
Unfortunately, if you do bump into them with the screw attack, they do still deal contact damage to you, so you got to be a little bit careful, but usually it's fine. Especially since when you kill one of them, you get a bunch of extra health drops, so you've got to refill for the second one.
So
that was the main thing that went wrong on that first attempt, actually, was I had too much divided damage. You need to focus one and then the other, but I was kind of splitting it up, which led to neither of them dying and me dying instead.
So you guys remember boss fights?
Yeah, it's been a while since we've had a proper one.
So we're going to get in a boss fight soon. It's a very interesting one that kind of you have to...
Yeah, I'm going to be real quiet for this one because
Yeah.
it's a difficult one to do fast. Yep, that's a shame.
Yeah.
I messed it up at the end there. So right here, the first time the ice missiles are really coming into play. Like we said before, these actually deal a good amount of damage, unlike the super missiles. So I am going to be using them. Normally what I'd like to do is I'd like to get a Shine Spark on this last phase of Gulzuna twice, so that we can deal a lot of damage quickly, and it just kind of dies immediately. But I did mess that up, so we're just going to have to do it with ammo instead. I will do a Shine Spark on the core X that follows, though.
There we go.
Decent fight still, but could have been better. So now we get the X-Bomba, I guess, which at least it's changed. It's actually pretty different, because normally these would be called the cross bombs. We need them exactly in 2 rooms. One of them is right here, immediately after the boss fight, and then another is about 10 minutes later.
Yeah, you also use them a bit against the final boss, right?
True, but we don't need them.
No.
No, but they are actually useful for one thing, and that's the fact that they do a lot of damage. Because each cross-bomb explosion does the damage of a regular bomb, which usually wouldn't be anything worth fighting a boss with. But because the cross-bomb fires in this like big cross pattern, if you position them correctly against the final boss, you can get lots of hits in at the same time, which actually can deal upwards of 500 damage with each cross-bomb, which, in case you were wondering, that's a lot. So that's useful. Right now we're heading to the final real new area of the game, Hanubia, which, unlike what the map is saying, is actually fairly small. We're going to be here for the least amount of time overall, if you don't count cutscenes. But it does have some unskippable cutscenes in it, so we're going to be looking at those, unfortunately. Going to do a speed booster to start, just to make it through all of these rooms as fast as possible. And then, surprise, this very unfortunate soul.
Cool, I didn't see anyone.
Yeah, I know, there's just empty. Anyway, this is our final real kind of sequence breaking glitch of the run. It only skips a very small section at the top of this room, but that does save a decent amount of time. I think it's like 10 or 12 seconds.
Yeah.
Because that section at the top is like a bunch of slow tunnel movement and stuff that you really don't want to do. So instead, we just fire the grapple beam straight through the wall and grab a grapple block from the other side.
Yeah, reverse grapple block, it's basically the only time you'll ever show it.
In any percent, that's the only time we need that trick. But essentially what it is it's just a pseudo wave with the grapple beam. But what's funny about grapple beam blocks is everything in this game is technically 3D, even though it's a 2D game. And so grapple beam blocks have a funny property where if you swing around at them the way that I was just doing, like, they're not entirely closed, so you can kind of just like jam the grapple beam in the back of them is essentially what you do. It's some Z-axis shenanigans that I don't entirely understand, but it's pretty cool. This game being in 3D is actually really relevant in Unrestricted, where they can do another glitch called axis skew, which really breaks everything. But luckily, I don't need to worry about that, because that trick is very, very difficult. I'm really glad about that RNG there, actually. The enemy just didn't notice it at all, which is the fastest possible pattern. Usually, I'd be happy as a clam if it would notice me just like as early as possible. But not noticing me at all is even better.
Why are clams that happy?
I don't know. I was just referencing Moana, I guess.
Yeah, I've just been hearing people say it. I'm like, that's interesting.
Oh, not quite. So we're going over here for our final main boss before the last one, which is going to be SQ, which you see flying around outside over there. I'm going to charge up a Shine Spark. I'm going to stand right here. Get him.
Nice.
That was a little bit early, but I still got it, so it's fine. Again, Shine Sparks do a lot of damage, and then after that, we're not supposed to have the screw attack to be fighting this boss, so he drops pretty quick.
Yeah, during the main phase of the boss.
Oh.
During the main phase of the boss, you can't really take damage because of screw attack.
No. Everything that SQ can throw at you, contact damage, its projectiles, and just anything it can do is actually completely negated by the screw attack. Unlike a lot of bosses, it just has no way to damage you while you're in it.
You know what I really like in this part of the run? You actually charge up the speed booster, you stand there waiting for them.
Yeah.
Instead of them being prepared for you, you're prepared for them, and they don't even see it coming.
It's great.
Yeah, so we got the door opening missiles.
Yeah. The storm missiles, which were the item that we got from SQ, are not very useful at all. They don't have good damage. They cost way too much ammo to use. They're really slow. Yeah, no, they're just not
look
great.
cool.
A glorified door opener.
Cool, but they're essentially just a key.
Yeah.
We use them to open storm missile doors, and that's it. Pack it up, go home. So right there, again, doing a screw attack, or the Shine Spark, there we go, doing Shine Spark to kill this boss a little bit quicker. Again, these are the twin robot Chozo soldiers that we were supposed to fight earlier, where it's one gold and one gray. But again, we sequence broke out a little bit. Gonna exit out the right side here, even though I could have done the left. But we want to go to the right anyway, so it's usually faster to just cross the whole room first. All right, now we're gonna see the final real use of the cross bombs. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to make it through that. And that's the last that will actually need that item. But again, like Killer said, we will be using it on the final boss. I'm going to use cross bombs here again just to go a little bit faster. So I guess I lied. I forgot about that. We're going to jump right through there with the storm missiles. I believe that is actually the final use of the storm missiles. I don't think we need those ever again. I think we used them literally 3 times.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
It's a bit of a sad item, but it's a lot cooler casually because you're supposed to get it a lot earlier and use it to do a bunch of other stuff. But we sequence broke a lot, so we didn't need to do any of that.
Yeah, there's some optional power-ups you can get with it.
Yeah. Here, a Shine Spark and then a Screw Attack will dispatch this central unit in the blink of an eye. That is the single easiest mini-boss in this entire game. And now we just have one last Emmy to shoot here. Although, strictly speaking, there's one more, but we're not going to be shooting that one.
No, it's got to be sad and dead.
Yeah. And we're going to skip the cutscene. It's so sad. It just kind of lies there and it's never explained.
No.
Again, actually, another use of the cross bombs. I lied again. So by laying a cross bomb at the start of that tunnel, we can propel ourselves forward while we're also blowing up the bomb block at the end. Same thing here. We just get a little bit of extra speed while achieving the goal of blowing up the block. So just a little bit faster to do it that way. And now I'm just going to stand here and wait for the purple Emmy to get over here.
Yeah, so there's a couple of different strats you can do here.
There's a lot. I think there's like 5.
Yeah, all of them are hard.
All of them except this one and the even easier one.
Yeah.
The easiest strat for this is just the casual strat, where you go all the way to the top of this kind of section of tunnels and you stand in the left corner and you literally don't even have to aim. You can just hold L and Y and you'll kill it. This one's slightly harder, but not much.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of cool strats for this one where you like jump over it and shoot it a tiny bit more and jump over it again and shoot it a little bit more and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And those are really impressive, but I am not quite at that level yet. Especially not with how much time it loses to mess it up, because those strats only save like between 5 and 10 seconds at most. But if you mess it up, you lose like half a minute or more. So it's just not worth it most of the time. That gives us almost the final major upgrade. It's the final one that we're really going to be using for much of anything.
We've been talking a lot about pseudo waves and stuff, and we don't actually have to do that anymore because now we have the wave beam, and it actually kind of ignores solid objects, as you can see right here. Detail is just firing through an entire wall.
Yep. So we don't need to do pseudo waves anymore. Although for that block that I just blew up using the wave beam in this room, there is actually a really easy pseudo wave for that that's really, really lenient. So I went back and I tested this a few days ago. If you were to come down here, like with all the items from a casual playthrough, so you have everything except the wave beam, then you can still get out even if you don't have the wave beam, despite them not intending you to, because that pseudo wave is just so easy. We do have a second for a donation if you want it.
Sure thing. We just got 15 euros from Wanda saying, "You go, Willow."
Hey. Thank you. Very good. I'm going to do a speed booster here. I'm going to jump into this gap up, or not. He wasn't having it. All right, whatever. It's fine. Screw attack it is. Ideally, I would dispatch that. Okay, so fun fact there. That's a great example of how the geometry in this game messes with your momentum. By morphing at apparently that exact time, I just kind of stopped it, which I didn't know was a thing. I hate to say it, but that's never happened before. All right, this mini-boss is the... I don't even know what he's actually called. I just call him the Crimson Chozo Soldier.
Yeah.
It's another X-infected Chozo Soldier like we saw about 20 or 30 minutes ago. This one just has more health and does more damage, but it has all the same moves, save for one. So we're, again, just going to spam it full with the turbo beam attack, and then it'll die quick enough. And we're going to have ourselves a nice smoothie. Everybody stay hydrated.
Because apparently Samus's Metroid DNA is awakening. That she got a Metroid fusion.
Nobody saw that.
And the enemy was just dead in the background throughout the entire fight.
So we're going to have a second smoothie.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, this is where the Metroid Fusion DNA actually comes in handy.
Oh, yeah.
Metroid Fusion.
Yeah.
The Metroid DNA that comes from
yeah.
Metroid Fusion.
Exactly. Power Bomba, another translated name. Let's go. So this is the Power Bombs, the actual final main upgrade of the game. It's just a powerful version of the bombs. We only have 2 of them because we didn't collect any additional power bomb tanks, and we can charge them up by holding the missile button while in morph ball form. There's actually some pretty interesting movement that I'm going to be trying to do across these next... Oh, my bad. Across these next few rooms. I'm going to be trying to shoot those robots before my power bomb actually goes off, so that the power bomb refills that they drop will refill my tanks, which allow me to use a power bomb in this room as well, which goes a lot faster. And then again, just a second here, when I'm going to do a speed booster, store a Shine Spark, turn into a Morph Ball, drop the power bomb, and then engage a Shine Spark to go up there. It's a very flashy sequence, but it's really, really easy.
So you want to specifically do that Shine Spark in Morph Ball form. Otherwise you get a whole glorified cutscene.
You don't actually.
Not
here.
Is it not that one?
No, not that one. There's a lot of those. You're right you're right in a lot of other places, but not actually that one. The only reason we do that Spark in Morph Ball form is just so that you don't need to do any more inputs in that sequence, because there's just no reason to. But in that exact location, there will be one of those cutscenes later on.
That's what I'm thinking about.
It's just that we're going to go back there, and it's going to be different. But for right now, there wouldn't have been a cutscene. We have done one of those cutscene skips by being a Morph Ball instead of full Samus before, right after we got the Speed Booster. The very first Shine Spark upward that I did was actually one of those.
Right.
And there we go. That's the final X-Infected Chozo Soldier. I was about to say Chozo-Infected X-Soldier.
Kind of works the same way, just differently.
Yeah, true. So that dispatches in pretty easily. And now we're going to head to the final area of the game, which only really contains the final boss fight, Itarash.
And we're going to travel there by Dragon Ball Space Capsule.
Indeed.
Yeah.
If anybody has some elevator music, again, we do need
Do
it.
we have any elevator jokes left?
Do you? I don't know.
No, I don't. I'm sorry for
man.
bringing you down.
Now you're really raising the stakes.
So done. You guys coordinated this.
I what?
I'm being conspired against.
Most definitely.
All right. So yeah, we're just gonna dispatch the final boss, do the escape sequence, because of course this is a Metroid game, and then we'll be coming up on time in about 4 minutes, 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Depending on how well I play on the boss fight. Gonna do a speed booster here because it's fast. And flash shift over to this room, immediately morph so we can charge a power bomb to blow up the Zebetite. They've never actually confirmed if that material there is Zebetite, but everybody just calls it that because it works the same way.
Yeah.
Save for the fact that you use different weaponry to get rid of it.
Right.
But, you know, it's like a wall blocking the final boss. It's Zebetite, come on.
And now we're gonna fight Bird Dad.
Yep. 1, 2, 3,
Peaky.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, looks good. So I'm doing a very specific setup here where I hit him with exactly 9 missiles, and then I'm gonna wait for him to do an attack that I can parry, which usually takes a minute, but it's entirely RNG. There we go. That was actually pretty quick. I'm gonna just pump him full of gunfire using the turbo. And that's gonna leave him at exactly the right amount of health so that when I hit him with another missile, he's gonna immediately do another parryable attack. And then when I pump him full of gunfire again, we're gonna transition into phase 2 of the fight without needing to go through the kind of I'm invulnerable state of phase 1, which normally would take a hot second to complete because you just kind of have to wait for him to stop doing that, and it's a real pain. I did consider that on my list of tricks, so Diane, if you would note that down, that would be great. There was no chance that I was ever messing it up, but, you know. It was on the list, so.
Charity, you know.
Yeah.
Tallying.
Thank you. I've actually got pretty good aim at the moment. We're just trying to hit him with as many missiles as possible. It's very simple. We're going to keep doing that in phase 3, except we're also trying to put in cross bombs, like I was saying with Killer earlier. Every time that my cross bomb runs out, I'm just going to be dropping another one. And as long as at least 3 of the blasts hit him, it's worth it in terms of damage. Here I'm going to drop a power bomb to get rid of that big floating ball of death that he threw at me. And you might notice me running into him before he's about to fire his big Kamehameha beam. That's because contact damage does a lot less damage than that beam attack. And so by doing that, I can just like save myself a bit of pain. Oh, kind of messing up on my cross bombing now. Oh, that was a really good one. He just like positioned himself right in the middle of it. And that's the fight, as long as I get the parry. 1 and 2. Very good. Skip the cutscene.
Awesome.
Got another loading zone, and then we'll just head out. We do have one more phase of that boss fight, or I guess strictly speaking, it's a separate boss fight to do.
Yeah. Okay.
And like this one's really difficult, so I'm gonna need everybody to be really quiet for this one, because like I need to focus, because this is just like it's so easy to die here. I would say shoutouts to Keku, but I don't want to be rude.
Oh no.
Shoutouts to Keku though.
There you go.
So no, this fight is trivial. You just kind of hold the gun button and it dies.
So this is like a Ravenbeak X Parasite Crate.
Yeah, it's a combination of a bunch of bosses we fought throughout the game, and one that we didn't.
How much of that laser is he going to take me for? Oh,
It's a bit.
That took a
then we
long
can skip
time.
this cutscene, and then time should be coming up in
hey,
about
look,
a
new
minute.
ability. Oh,
Yeah.
but we
A
just
bit over a minute.
Yeah.
lost that new ability out of the door because we basically got a Kamehameha
Fun
ourselves.
fact, after we killed Ravenbeak, our beam upgraded to the Hyper Beam, which is, you know, this big, gigantic laser beam, and our suit upgraded to the Metroid suit, which makes us completely invulnerable against all sources of damage, as well as kills anything that touches us. So we're a little OP. But at the same time, it actually removed the flash shift, so we no longer have that item, which is a real shame because, like I was saying before, the flash shift is really fast, so we were using it everywhere, and now we can't do that anymore. So we're just kind of walking like a peasant. Here, in a couple seconds, is where we're going to do that speed boost that you were thinking about earlier.
Yeah.
We're going to get a Shine Spark in actually the same place that we did before. It's just that the whole place is falling apart now. And this time, when we Shine Spark up through that bridge that we were at before, I'm going to turn into a ball to skip a cutscene.
Yeah.
Time will be coming up very, very shortly. I forgot to do a speed booster. Oh well, it's fine. Oh. Oh, that's a shame. Normally you'd wall jump there and then turn into a ball to preserve your speed boost, but that unfortunately did not work out the way that I wanted it. And time. So I see 124.04. That's what, 16 seconds behind my PB.
No, there you go.
So that's pretty good.
You did very excellently.
Fantastic.
And yeah, Bird Uncle is back.
Yeah.
If you'll recall, he was being reanimated by an X, but the X absorbed his memories, and so he's like, "Oh my God, I like you," and then he sacrifices himself to prevent us from succumbing to the Metroid infection. Plot. That's Metroid Dread. I don't really have much more to say other than shout-outs to my commentators. Thank you for their chair. Thank you very much
Thanks for having me.
Shout-outs again to Keku. And thanks very much to everybody from back home and from my stream and whatnot who donated. Really appreciate that. I'll be coming back home in a few days. And that's all for me.
Thank you, dtail, for showcasing Metroid Dread. Fantastic run and a fantastic time. In a minute, we're going to go into a quick intermission. We'll be running some ads, and when we come back, we will have Super Mario 3D Land special ending by Cyver, so stay tuned.